Okay, we're now recording. Kushika, thank you for that. Rowena, hi Rowena. Oh, Rowena's a neighbour of mine, so that's great to have you back again, Rowena.
To see Nirma there. Hi, Nirma. Hope you're doing well. Good.
Is there a particular way of doing the massage? We'll cover that, Mary. There is, but it doesn't have to be, if you're very, have the bathroom nice and warm and just use sesame oil or Vata massage oil. No, I just put a little bit of oil on your skin and rub it all over your body. But we'll be going into that anyway, so don't worry about it. Margaret and Peter, how you doing? Janindra from Potter's Bar. Okay. So I hope that person got their video working. Jamesy from Dundalk. How you doing, Jamesy? I'm in Drogheda, so not too far away from you.
I think Dr. Don is on now.
Dr. Brennan is on, is he?
I think he is.
He is, yeah. Hey, Don.
Hi, Noel. Hi,
hey,
hello, Dr. Don.
Welcome along.
Yeah, here we go again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Carmel Kelly just joined. She's new. Lots of new people, so that's great.
That's fantastic.
Arabic
Paul Corbett. Welcome, Paul. Friend of mine.
And see him on my screen.
Okay.
To which datus does skin belong? Actually, skin is a combination of datus. It would include mamsa, muscles, it would include blood, it would include rasa. So it's a combination.
People are asking about the recording of this. Yes, it's going to be recorded. I'll be putting it on YouTube tomorrow. So if people have to go, or if you miss any of the 6 lessons, don't worry about it. It's all recorded. You can review it. You can go back over it in your own pace, Jane from Perry. Hiya, Jane.
Bria castor oil is used in Ayurveda. You find it in some herbals as well. Oh, excuse me, I have to answer the door. I'll be back in a sec.
Okay, no problem.
Said, is it okay to take triple early in the day rather than the night time? Yeah, absolutely fine.
Someone from Roscommon. God, the texts are coming in hot and fast here. Can you leave the oil on too long? I tend to do a yoga hour after massage and then shower. Is it that a big problem, Raj? An hour? It's a bit long, I suppose.
No, it's fine.
It's okay.
Dr. Say 20 minutes, but I just say it's fine. Okay. Because you're doing your yoga, you're doing your meditation.
Okay.
It's time. Only need time.
Nancy M there she says she's Peruvian. I can't keep hold of the text here coming in, but she's living in London. That's great, Nancy. I was in Peru. God, time is, I can't remember before the lockdown. It must have been the year before last. It wasn't last year anyway. So I visited Peru. What a country. What a great place. And yeah, so welcome along. Welcome along.
Priya is asking about the castor oil for Abhyanga. Priya, normally we don't use castor oil because it's medicinal oil and it's very thick oil. And so normally it would be used for pain. If there is pain, inflammation, anything like that, locally you can use it for massaging the site, but it's not really recommended for the whole body massage. But if you want to do it, I don't see why you can't. It has a warming effect and it would kind of dissolve the extra cellulite and inflammation. So it's good for kapha, vata. It's maybe a bit too heating for pitta in general, but it would be very difficult to take it off though. It's very thick oil.
Someone says, are the lungs are considered for detoxification and for removal of toxins in Ayurveda? There's so many different breathing exercises in Ayurveda, different pranayamas, all different styles of breathing to help clear the lungs out, And not only do they clear the lungs out, but when we breathe very deeply into the lungs, it also stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which puts our system into a much more relaxed style of functioning, So yes, absolutely. I mean, obviously carbon dioxide has been removed through the lungs, so absolutely the lungs are considered very, very important. And there's many things, like some of the recommendations from the Department of Ayush at the beginning of the COVID pandemic was to steam the lungs with ajwan seeds, and this is for purifying the lungs and for purifying the airways. And there are lots of oils that are used in Ayurveda for keeping the nostrils very clean and for keeping the throat area and for strengthening the lungs as well, you know. So obviously the lungs are considered hugely important, you know.
Depression, somebody asked what is dosha. Depression is more mainly related to kapha because of the heaviness and sluggish element, eating late in the evening, not doing much physical activity. These are some kind of and general kind of things around it, but there could be a lot going on in the system as well. But it is related to kapha.
Yeah, well, depression is a very, can be lots of different things, and like everything, it has its different levels as well, from extremely severe to sort of mild. But yeah, anyway, maybe we'll talk about it a bit more. We were actually going to do a webinar on mental health, you know. Can you suggest medicine for bladder cancer? That's you need more than a suggestion for medicine for bladder cancer, you know. I suffer with insomnia. What can help for that? So Jane, look out for when we start talking about Vata. So Vata generally gives rise to insomnia, and actually our next lesson is about Vata, and there'll be lots of tips. Also on our YouTube channel, Dr. Brennan has a half-hour long video about sleep and the importance of sleep and how to get sleep. And it's very important you deal with that. Very, very important that you get to the root cause of what's causing you to not be able to sleep. And we cover an awful lot about sleep in this course, because sleep is essential for health. I mean, what goes on in your physiology when you're asleep is just, you know, you need that sleep. It's very, very important. And we do cover it a lot over the course, you know. But just look out for the words Vata, and also go and take a look at Dr. Brennan's video about sleep. The person Meta about bladder cancer, I wasn't being flippant there. It's just that, you know, I don't think really we'd start giving out medicines for someone who's got cancer. That's, you know, you really need to have a talk with a doctor. You need to have a consultation with a doctor, I think.
Tina, it's fine to have khichdi once a week. That's okay, because if you're putting different lentil, different grain, different vegetables, you rotate that. It's okay to do khichdi once a week. You won't overdo it. Khichdi is a very staple diet.
Gandharva Veda there, you said you have a friend suffering with restless leg syndrome. Where does this stem from? I think you've done this course before, if I'm not mistaken. So just give me your best guess at what you think restless leg syndrome, or if anybody that's done the course before wants to put what dosha are we talking about there? If anybody wants to put that into the chat box. Okay, Rowena, Vata first. Yeah, absolutely, it's a Vata thing. So again, look out for Vata. Vata is about movement. Vata is air and space, so it's all about movement. And yeah, Vatsala is the same thing. Restless leg, Vata. Dr. Brennan, you're back with us.
I am indeed. I'm looking at Catherine. We're talking about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Can Ayurveda ease the pain for those?
Don, just your microphone is just come in a little bit closer.
Thank you very much, Noel. So pain with EDS, and pain is a Vata problem, and gentle things can ease the situation. Like I would be very much suggesting a regular sesame oil massage and getting plenty of rest. Even the TM, it won't ease the pain, but it'll give more tolerance of discomfort and pain. And when I get a cold, I get a cold. Well, Danielle, that sounds like a kapha situation that you should keep in mind as you go through the course. And depression has not come up much. Depression is so common, but it could be as Noel was saying, any dosha, but predominating probably is kapha, the dullness, heaviness, sluggishness. But often, you know, vata, the anxieties can drive people to depression as well, and so kapha eventually gets involved. So,
Stephanie's asking for ADHD. Dr. Brennan, maybe we'll take that one.
Okay, ADHD. It's a very difficult thing, and at the same time, it's becoming increasingly popular, well, common, should I say. And definitely, we're thinking about a Vata condition, because the nervous system is a Vata structure, and it can greatly help for a child or a teenager to get their Vata better balanced. Their brains are still developing, and there's possibilities of improvement always at that age. So Ayurveda also has specific tonics for the nervous system and particular foods that would be recommended. And then there'd be panchakarma type treatments with oil applications, shirodhara. So there are possibilities, and certainly it's well worth integrating the knowledge of Ayurveda into their upbringing, and it would make a difference.
Actually, Don, I would also highly recommend transcendental meditation for someone suffering from ADHD. And there's quite a lot of research, published research in that area. And
Dr. Natasha Campbell's book is also good.
Dr. who?
Natasha Campbell. I'll type that in the chat box, the name of the book.
Yeah, and the person should Google transcendental meditation and ADHD just to see what they get back on it, Okay, so let's see, we have 3:59 on, okay, and so it's nearly time to get started.
Just before we do, Noel, another book, Gabor Mate, Scattered Minds. He was an expert in, I think, a neurologist, but he was writing articles. He was asked to write an article on ADHD, and as he researched for the article, he recognized he was a severe case, and he'd spent his life compensating. And so he becomes quite an expert, and that book is really interesting. Scattered Minds.
Okay. Don, you need to move your camera back or something like that. We're just seeing the top of your head nearly, so
well, that's because I'm almost swallowing this blooming microphone, so you hear me.
All right.
Okay.
Well, it's one or the other. We can see or hear you, but not both. Is that what you're telling me? Okay.
Is your volume high? Is your computer volume is up to 100? Is it?
Yeah. That's a very good thing, but I've sorted that one out, and it is 100%.
Okay, well, there's somebody straight back. Poppy's iPhone. Gabor may change my life. He's an incredible speaker. Also many videos on YouTube. So there you go. And there's someone else put the name of the book in as well. Scattered Minds. I haven't read it myself, but it sounds like it could be a good read. Okay, I think we're ready to get started. So just for the new people that are here, and there's quite a good few new people. So my name is Noel O'Neill. I'm a director of the Ayurveda Centre in Dublin, and we have with us this evening two doctors. We've got Dr. Don Brennan, and Dr. Brennan is a medical doctor as well as an Ayurvedic doctor. He's practiced in the field of Ayurveda for about the last 30 years. He's the founding president of the Ayurvedic Practitioners Association in the UK. He's probably one of the most experienced Western trained doctors in Ayurveda in the world at this stage. So he's consulted with literally thousands and thousands of people, and he's very well known in both the UK and Ireland, and more even becoming very well known around Europe as well at this time, And then the other doctor, are what we call a Vaidya, because that's what it's called in India. You become a Vaidya, is Dr. Rajvinder Kaur. And Dr. Kaur has been in Ireland since 2007, and she's worked with the Ayurveda Centre. In India, when you do an Ayurvedic degree in Ayurveda, it's a 6-year course. It's called a BAMS, Bachelor of Ayurvedic Medicine and Surgery. And Dr. Rajvinder is very well experienced. We have one other doctor that works in the centre in Ireland, Dr. Naheed, but she's actually back in India at the moment. But she may be on. Let me just double check. Maybe I'm... No, she's not on. No. Okay, so what we have done is we've prepared some videos that we're going to play, and then after we play the video, we're going to come back live. We're on live at the moment. We're going to come back live, and we're going to have a Q&A. Now, we discovered in the last course that what helps with the quality of the video is if people switch off their cameras while the video is playing. You can put them back on when we come live. It's nice to see people, but for some reason, when people switch off their cameras, it makes the quality of the video come through a little bit stronger, So what we'll do is we'll start, unless some of the doctors have anything else they'd like to say, I'll share the screen and we'll start with the video. And so Don, are you happy to go ahead?
Happy to go ahead, Noel.
Rajinder, you're okay to go ahead, yeah?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if people want to switch their cameras off, there's just a little camera button down on the left-hand side of your screen probably, and then we can switch them back on later on. And then this video is 43 minutes long, so we'll just go ahead and then we'll be back. We'll have our Q&A after the video. Along. My name is Noel O'Neill, and I'm a director of the Ayurveda Centre in Ireland, and I'd just like to welcome you to this 6-lesson Ayurveda course. So what we're going to do here is we're going to give an overview of the course, an introduction to what we'll be covering in the course, and then we'll introduce you to our great doctors that are going to facilitate the course. So I'm appreciative of the fact that some of you may be completely new to Ayurveda. There's probably some people who have done courses with us before on this, but I'm sure there are some people who have no notion of what Ayurveda is. So I'll explain a little bit about Ayurveda before we get started. So Ayurveda is made up of 2 words, Ayu, which means lifespan, and Veda, which means knowledge. So Ayurveda means the knowledge of lifespan. And Ayurveda is the oldest traditional system of healthcare in the world. Well, it's reckoned to be the oldest traditional system of healthcare in the world. Its roots go back thousands upon thousands of years. There are many ancient scriptures that detail all the different modalities of Ayurveda that are there, and we'll be talking about them during the course. Its roots are in India and Asia, and it's still used by millions of people in the East as their main system of healthcare, and it's gaining huge traction in the West as well. So basically, what is it? What way does it look at health? How does it look at disease and ill health? Well, fundamentally, it looks at health in terms of balance, and ill health in terms of imbalance. Okay, so it sees that when things are in balance in the body, then people are happy, they're contented, and they have good health and long life. But when things go out of balance, which we're going to talk about a lot, then this causes problems. So what Ayurveda is always trying to do is to discover, well, what is the person doing, or what lifestyle are they adopting that's making things go out of balance, and what can they do to help bring the system back into balance. But the overall worldview of Ayurveda is that at the fundamental level of life, of our existence, there is a field of pure consciousness from where everything comes from. And this field of pure consciousness has many different names. And one of the names that people use for it is being, the field of being. And being is existence or pure consciousness. And we are, after all, what we call ourselves human beings. So we are the expression of that intelligence in the form of an individual physiology, in an individual person. We express that intelligence in the form of an individual. So that's the fundamental basics of the life view of Ayurveda, that this field of consciousness underlies everything. It doesn't just underlie me and you, it underlies everything that's in the creation, whether it's animate or inanimate. We just happen to express it in our human nervous system. But this field of consciousness is beyond thought, it's beyond space, it's beyond time. It correlates very well with what modern physicists would call the unified field theory of life as well, but we can go into that a little bit more later on. But anyway, this field of consciousness, this field of unity expresses itself. And it expresses itself through diversity, through all the diverse things that are there. If you think about it, we live in a universe. That's what we live in, okay? So what does the word universe mean? Well, the word universe means unity of diversity. Now, diversity is obvious. I'm different than you. The computer is different than the table. Black is different than red. In actual fact, if we look out with our senses at the world, we would think that it's just diversity, that there's no unity, that everything is separated from everything else, and that it's just a world of beautiful diversity. And from the point of view of the senses, that would be true. But this underlying field of unity is there. So what is this unity that they talk about, okay? So again, that comes back to being the field of being. And this field of consciousness expresses itself in all this diversity. And it, at its basic fundamental level, it expresses itself through 5 different elements, 5 different material things that make up the material universe. And they are earth, air, fire, water, and space. Earth, air, fire, water, and space. So everything in the universe is made up of these elements. And everything is a mixture. Well, sometimes you can have just pure water or you can have pure fire, but generally things are a mixture of these things. And what Ayurveda does is it categorizes these mixtures in people into 3 what they call doshas. And these 3 doshas are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And Vata, Pitta, and Kapha are 3 words that you're going to become very, very familiar with over this course. Now, Vata is made of air and space, and Pitta is made of fire and water, and Kapha is made of earth and water. And all of these elements exist inside every human being, but in different amounts Okay, so some people will have a lot of the fire element in them. They'll be very fiery people. They'll be what's called pitta people. Some people will have more of the space element in them. They'll be very artistic. They'll be very thin and quick moving. And some people will have a lot of the kapha element in them. They'll be heavier. They'll be slower moving. They'll have, heavier bone structure and, slow to pick things up, but retain things for a long time when they do pick them up. So an understanding of vata, pitta, and kapha is fundamental to the understanding of Ayurveda, because I say we're all a mixture of these things. And actually our first 3 classes cover these 3 doshas, vata, pitta, and kapha. Now, everybody has a unique nature. No 2 people are the same. And that's the great thing about Ayurveda. It's not just saying there's one thing suits everybody, because there isn't one thing suits everybody. Some foods may suit me because I'm a pitta type, cooling foods, but they mightn't necessarily suit a kapha person. Or some exercises might suit me, but other exercises may cause me to go out of balance and cause harm to me. And those exercises would be better for somebody else. So it's not one size fits all. It's a unique size for yourself. And understanding your own nature is a very, very important part of Ayurveda, because then you can understand the things that bring balance in your life and bring imbalance in your life. Because what you've got to remember, it's not only you that's made up of earth, air, fire, water, and space, but everything in the universe is made up of earth, air, fire, water, and space. So everything is either bringing balance or imbalance to you. And it's only through understanding our natures that we can decide the things that are good for us. Now, the very interesting thing is that in Ayurveda, all diseases, now think of the word disease. I'm sure you've seen this before, but it's 2 words, dis-ease, imbalance. All diseases are caused by an imbalance of vata, pitta, or kapha. So everything from anxiety to insomnia to migraine to whatever you care to mention, it's looked at in terms of this imbalance. And so what Ayurveda is trying to do, it's trying to identify the imbalance. So if you're suffering from anxiety, Ayurveda is saying, okay, well, anxiety tends to be a vata condition, too much air in space, too much movement. So is this person a vata person to start with? What's aggravating their vata? What are they doing that's causing this to happen? And what can they do to reverse it? So maybe the person needs to learn a meditation technique. Maybe a person needs to do oil massages. Maybe they need to take certain foods, certain warm, nourishing foods. Maybe they need to change their job or their lifestyle or something like that. So Ayurveda is looking at those things to see, well, what's causing these imbalances and what can we do to bring back the system back into balance. So living in tune with nature is how we have ideal health, is how we have perfect health. And as I say, all diseases are associated with imbalances in vata, pitta, and kapha. So you're going to learn all about this over the following 6 lessons. We're going to go greatly in depth to it. Before I introduce the doctors, I just want to do 1 or 2 things. I want to show you some places where you can do a little bit of homework. You can find out more about vata, pitta, kapha. And I also want to show you a little video that I got from YouTube, that is where the director of the World Health Organization is talking about vata, pitta, and kapha. So if you just bear with me for a second, there we are there. So we'll just play this little video.
Your Excellency Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Excellencies, dear colleagues and friends, Namaste. Traditional systems of medicine such as Ayurveda can play an important role in integrated, people-centered health services and self-care, but they have not received enough attention. In a WHO report last year, 170 countries reported the use of traditional and complementary medicine, including Ayurveda. Earlier this week, I had the great honor of speaking with His Excellency Prime Minister Modi. I welcome the Prime Minister's strong commitment to universal health coverage through the Ayushman Bharat initiative and the use of evidence-based traditional and complementary medicine supported by the Ministry of Ayush. I'm pleased to announce that we have agreed to open a WHO Global Center on Traditional Medicine in India to strengthen the evidence, research, training, and awareness of traditional and complementary medicine. This new center will support WHO's effort to implement the WHO Traditional Medicine Strategy 2014 to 2023, which aims to support countries in developing policies and action plans to strengthen the role of traditional medicine as part of their journey to universal health coverage and a healthier, safer, fairer world. Finally, I wish you a very happy Diwali. I thank you.
So that's the Director General of the World Health Organization talking about the Ayurveda. And I suppose Ayurveda was used quite widely in the treatment of COVID during the pandemic, and to what seemingly, anyway, it's very hard to tell with these things, but seemingly to very, very good results, you know. So actually we have some very nice videos on our YouTube channel, which I'm going to be showing you towards the end of the class, so knowledge around the country, and even get it into the universities and even establish chairs in universities as well, you know. So I tell you what, I won't share our website with you yet. What we'll do is I'll introduce you to the doctors now, and the doctors can tell you about what they, you know, hope that you get from this course and what they feel are the most important things that you can take away from this course. And then I'll come back at the very end and I'll show you our website, because there's a huge resource of information on our website. I'll show you where our YouTube channel is, and I'll show you how you can access these lessons in case you happen to miss one, because, you know, life is busy. You might not always be able to be here every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 weeks, and you may miss a lesson, but don't worry about that, because we can catch up on those lessons later on. So there's no issue over that. I also want to say to you is that you're going to be introduced to a lot of new terminology here and a lot of new phrases, but the best way to learn things is through repetition. So don't stress or strain over trying to understand these too quickly. Just allow the knowledge to go in. Just listen and allow the knowledge to go in. And then what happens is it'll be repeated, or somebody will ask a question about it or something, and you'll hear it again and you'll hear it again. And after a while, you'll very quickly begin to recognize, you know, all these different words and how they relate to very practical things. And I want to say that even though talking about, you know, being and consciousness might seem impractical, Ayurveda is a very, very practical system of healthcare. You're going to get great advices here for your daily routine and for things that you can do to maintain very positive health, to maintain very strong immunity. And if unfortunately you are already in a situation where there is some disease or imbalance in your system, you'll get great knowledge that'll maybe help you to start reversing that and bringing your system back into balance. So the first of our doctors that I want to introduce you to is Dr. Don Brennan. Now, Dr. Don Brennan, I'm sure some of you are already aware of, because he's quite well known. So Dr. Brennan is a medical doctor. He trained in Ireland in medicine, practiced medicine in Ireland, worked in various hospitals in Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland, and but more importantly, he's been involved in the field of Ayurveda for over 30 years now at this stage. So he's consulted with literally thousands upon thousands of people, and he's lectured widely, and he's appeared on the Late Late Show, he's appeared in the media, he's appeared on radios and doing newspaper articles. He is the founding president of the Ayurvedic Practitioners Association in the UK, which is quite a strong practitioners association over there, and so he's very well respected in the Ayurvedic community. I would have to say at this stage he's probably one of the most knowledgeable Western-trained Ayurvedic doctors in the world at this stage, with the wealth of experience that he has. And it's absolutely fantastic. He now lives in Dublin, and I've worked with Dr. Brennan for the last 15 years or so. And it's great that he comes on, and you're going to see that he has a wealth of wisdom to share with everybody. So Dr. Brennan, I'm going to hand over to you, and maybe you might even want to give yourself a little introduction or whatever, or maybe you'd like to say what people can take away from this course and what you feel are the most important things that people will get from this course. So Dr. Brennan, we'll hand over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Noel, for that very comprehensive introduction to Ayurveda, and inspiring to see it's getting to the highest level of recognition now. I would like to just, as with each of us, take one aspect that we feel is very important, that we would like you to take away from this short course. And so these three things form a fundamental basis to a healthy life, and it just focuses your mind for the rest of the course, hopefully, to pick up on these three. And in order to introduce the particular fundamental that I'm going to talk about, I just want to bring you on a personal journey, because as a teenager, my real concern and interest and question was, why do people suffer? And I could see nowhere around me people who really didn't, nor any answer to the question that was profound. And so I thought to myself, well, the best field probably to find out would be medicine. And if medicine didn't know, at least I'd have 7 years more to think about it. So I ended up doing medicine, and was shocked when I came to the end of the medical course to discover that medicine didn't know. It's not a fundamental situation where it has sorted out the reasons for suffering and ameliorates them. In fact, it turned out actually that the practice of medicine was more symptomatic based, trying to treat the anxiety or trying to treat the cancer, and very superficial in its approach, purely physical, mainly, with surgery and medicines being the prime instrument. So that was shocking to me. But something had happened to me in the process of medical studies, which was that I had learned transcendental meditation and had witnessed in myself mood swings, which were quite disruptive at times, and increasing anxiety with the pressures of the medical course, just settled down. And I became, by the end of the medical course, quite a happy person. And I thought, well, there must be something here. So relatively soon after doing the medical training, I trained as a TM teacher. And then I was in a complete dilemma, because with the TM, I was teaching people, and I could see their suffering relieved and they're becoming happier through the simple practice of sitting down, closing their eyes, and transcending. But at the same time, I was working in casualty in Northern Ireland during the Troubles, and I could see people coming in traumatized, and through the medical approach, ease their suffering. And so I couldn't bring them together until I studied Ayurveda. So Maharishi Ayurveda was a perspective that drew me in, because it explained why each of us suffer. And it comes back to what Noel was telling us, that fundamentally we are being. We are transcendence. We are consciousness. And this is the paradigm that Maharishi Ayurveda is bringing to our attention. And so within us is all the information and the intelligence, which is arising from that refined essence of being, in order for us to conceive and construct and to govern and become our bodies, right? And so having done that, our culture and traditions focuses outwardly, and unfortunately, it has to be said, our culture is dominated by a maddening pursuit of wealth, as if that was the means of fulfilling all desires. And yet we see the happiest people are often the poorest, and the wealthiest are often not an inspiration. So what is the cause of suffering? Ayurveda describes, like quantum physics describes, how nature unfolds in layers, and layers. In physics, it will be energy, it will be fine particles, it will be atoms, molecules, tissues, organs, a physical structure. In Ayurveda, Maharishi Ayurveda, it's consciousness at the depth. It unfolds as fine feelings, it unfolds as an intellect, it unfolds as a mind, it unfolds as these 5 dynamics that Noah was talking about, giving rise to the doshas that structure our bodies. So at every level, laws of nature, as they're called in science, which are principles of organization. It's like the rules whereby consciousness must operate to unfold our physiology. So that laws of nature, that intelligence, that information is within. And our fault that causes us suffering is that we've been trained to look out. And in so doing, from childhood, we start to lose the memory, that wonderful inspiration and joy of the child, where they're intuitively in touch with a more profound level. They innocently manifest, express it. And there's such a joy, because the field of consciousness is bliss. And so as they grow up, they're trained to look out. We forget who we are. We forget, therefore, all that flow of life from within. And because we lose our memory of the structuring principles of the organizing intelligence within ourselves, we make mistakes. And when we make mistakes, we go against our grain. As Noel said, we go out of balance. And the way we know we're out of balance is we suffer. So our suffering is actually due to our lack of insight, and therefore, in all field of Maharishi Ayurveda, the one fundamental is to wake up to that inner being. And the specific technique that has passed down through the most ancient tradition for that purpose is now known as transcendental meditation. There are different forms of meditation for different purposes. There is mindfulness to make you more mindful, which gives you insight as well and helps. There is compassion meditation, which is a much more focused type of meditation. So there are three types of meditation: focused, sort of mindfulness, attentive to something, and the transcendental meditation, which is the innocent process of allowing the awareness to do what the awareness would love to do, which is go back home and have a rest. And in that silence, of that stillness of awareness, to awaken to who you are. Now, this is not an idea. It is not an intellectual concept. It is not a grand theory. This is an experience. And because it is an experience, because it's beyond thought, we have to actually awaken to know, absolutely to know this field. And in so doing, our subtle level of awareness starts to align with that fundamental field and starts to actually process our feelings and then our thoughts and then our speech and then our action in line with all these innate wisdom of organizing principles or laws of nature. So we spontaneously start to compute life in terms of our living, which is in tune with nature, in tune with our needs, in tune with life as a whole. So if all of us, or a good proportion of us, could only wake on that level, this planet would have been secured. The reason this planet is so under threat and there is so much discord and unhappiness in the world is because we've forgotten who and what we are. And that's why I feel in the whole tradition of wisdom of Ayurveda, this most fundamental advice to experience your being, to transcend, is a fundamental, which when people do it, even spontaneously, they start to live life in tune, to go to bed at the right time, to eat the right food, and so forth. It empowers, it motivates. So my number one, and it's a wonderful process of ongoing progressive awakening, of development and becoming more wise and more spiritual as life goes on. Practice transcendental meditation 20 minutes twice a day. I leave that with you. That is what I want you to take away from this course.
Okay, Dr. Brennan, thank you very much for that. So Dr. Brennan there dealt with that most fundamental level of life, which is consciousness, and TM being one of the techniques that allows us to go back and experience that and enliven that. And obviously being in tune with your nature or being awake to your nature is an incredibly important thing. So now Dr. Naheed is going to talk. Actually, I think Dr. Naheed is just muted there. I'll have to unmute her. And Dr. Naheed, hi, Dr. Naheed.
Naheed is still muted.
Yeah. Hi, Dr. Naheed, how are you? So I think you're going to cover, you feel a very important thing with Ayurveda is digestion.
Yes. So Ayurveda, there is a saying in Ayurveda that it's not what we eat, it's what we digest. So Ayurveda puts a great emphasis on digestion and our diet as well, because ultimately at the end product of digestion is oja, which you are going to learn from this course. So what I'll emphasis on, what you can take from this course is that how important our digestion is. So Ayurveda not only has described about the diet, like what should be the diet, but also how a person should eat. Like I just give you a few examples and then you'll get to know in detail about the digestion in the lesson 6 from all of us. So there are few examples, like if you have to put at least a 3 hours gap between your meal so that your previous meal gets digested properly and you don't produce any metabolic toxin out of that. You use that food what you have it, and you make good tissues and good urges out of that. So why digestion is so important in Ayurveda? Because digestion, if we say that that's a process in which whatever we eat, it goes under process and our body utilizes that. From the Ayurvedic point of view, when we eat something, we form rasa, the first body tissue. So the more healthy is the rasa, the subsequently all the other tissues will form from rasa. So rakta, mangsha, meda, majja, and shukra all will form from that rasa, which is the finest nutrient products out of our digestion. And then we form the ojas, which is our stabilizing force, which is our immunity, which actually just keep us healthy enough and able us to fight with any disease and withstand any circumstances and any crunch situation. And also I would like you to emphasize that you will get to know about how a vata and a pitta and a kapha person digest their food, how is their digestive capacity. So a vata person mostly have like irregular kind of digestion, the pitta have a very sharp kind of digestion, kapha have very slow, very sluggish kind of digestion. So what should be your food preferences if you are a vata? What should be your food preferences if you are a pitta? And what should be your food preferences if you are a kapha? What should be the after process when you have your food? Like you need to just sit down, you need to go out for a walk. So why this walk is important, why it's related to diet? It's because our gut is very well connected to our mind. So when you go for a walk, when you go out, you are relaxing your mind, you are giving your a good environment to your entire system to digest your food properly. So all I say that just focus on each lesson, like how a vata, pitta, and kapha body behaves, and how their digestion behaves, and how should they plan their food accordingly. And you might be facing troubles, like you are a vata, your husband is pitta, and maybe your kapha child is kapha. So you don't know how to cook your food properly, like how you manage around like something you are digesting properly and your other family member are not able to do that properly. So you'll get to know in this course how you can plan your diet, how you can do like can go very easily around with cooking your food and enjoying your food. So be with us, enjoy the course, and I'll hand over to you, Noel.
Okay, Dr. Naheed. So thanks very much for that. Yes, so that diet and digestion are incredibly important in Ayurveda because obviously, like you're rebuilding your body all the time. It's amazing to think that the physical structure that you have, that you're watching this video with now, within 3 years, nearly 100% of that will have been replaced. But in 1 year, 99% of the physical you sitting in the chair there won't be you anymore. It'll have, all the atoms, all the cells will have regenerated themselves. You're creating something like 300 billion new cells every day. That's more stars than there are in the Milky Way. And yet this is happening without your conscious control. It's just all happening in the background. But obviously you need ingredients to make those new cells. And the ingredients is what you breathe and what you eat. So what you take into your body is very, very important. And not only what you take into your body, but the power of your digestion to be able to make the best use of what you're taking in. So even if you are eating good in-season food, but your digestion has been disturbed and is weak, then you're not digesting it properly. It's like taking coal and putting it on a big load of coal and putting it on a fire that's not lit. All it does is put the fire out as opposed to generating more heat. So getting your digestion correct is very, very important in Ayurveda. Having a good fire within the gut so that when you do put food in there, that it gets broken down correctly. And Dr. Naheed mentioned one of the first tissues that comes from the digestion of food, which is rasa. And we're going to be discussing all of those different, how one tissue turns into another tissue and how it's very important to have strong digestion the whole way along. So we're going to cover that a lot. As Dr. Naheed said, a Kapha person will have a different power of digestion than a Vata person, who will have a different power of digestion than a Pitta person. So you'll discover your nature as we go on with this course, and we'll have lots and lots of tips for people about how to strengthen their digestion if your digestion is weak, and also great tips about the types of foods that you should be eating, both from a seasonal and a daily point of view as well. So thanks very much for that, Dr. Naheed. So we now go to Dr. Rajvinder. I'm sure many of you know Dr. Rajvinder as well. She's been working in the Ayurveda Center since about 2007. She's a very well accomplished Ayurvedic doctor. She's treated thousands of people as well and consulted with thousands of people. And I think, Dr. Rajvinder, your favorite area in this course is going to be around the lifestyle that people should get involved in and the things that they should do. So maybe you should say a few words about that.
Yes, no, thank you. Well, Ayurveda is, we're going to talk that in detail, is made up of two words, which is Ayu and Veda. So Ayurveda is all the knowledge about your life. So it's a way of living. So it's a path that you walk on. And Ayurveda encourage people to find the balance in their mind, body, and spirit, because they all are connected to each other. As you have heard Dr. Brannin and Dr. Naheed talking about how important the meditation is, how important the food is. So the third aspect of your health is the lifestyle. So Ayurveda has a big wealth of knowledge on the lifestyle. How should we live? So that's how we're going to find ourselves, who we are first, knowing your body type, because your Prakriti your body type respond to any of the change in your diet, any of the change in your environment, any of the change in your habits. And that's how your Vata, Pitta, Kapha is affected with the slight change in the weather, even you feel it yourself. So the way of living, the lifestyle we call in Ayurveda, is very important. So we're going to discuss in our coming courses about the change, how the time change in the day. And there is a 4-hour window for each of the dosha. There's a 4 hour for Vata in the morning, early morning, 4 hours for Kapha, 4 hours for Pitta, and then back to Vata, like that. So understanding that principle, and I would encourage everybody to make one effort. So the word effort, yes, it is a daily effort in the habit that Ayurveda encourages us to make one change, one new things in our daily routine to achieve the perfect balance. So in the morning, for example, if we say 6 to 10 is the Kapha time. So getting up early is one effort in the day. So getting up in the Kapha time of the day and go for a little walk or do your daily abhyanga to kind of stimulate your body to have a better day, in energetic day, and living a full day of full potential, and living a day of your full potential. So just getting up early in the morning. And then the second window, which is 10 to 2, is the Pitta time of the day, which Ayurveda emphasizes eating your main meal in the middle of the day. And you will be surprised. It is hard in the beginning because we all are so used to work hard during the day and sit down in the evening and have a big meal. But by changing that, your energy levels are better, your blood glucose are better, and your sleep is better when you eat in the middle of the day. And then in the evening, you take it easy, do your kind of more evening TM, and have a light evening meal and go to bed on time. So that's how Ayurveda have divided your day into these 4 hours of window, and there is always a choice to do this particular thing in that hour. So that's what lifestyle is. There's a huge amount of wisdom there, and you can do a lot more. I'm just touching just one little point here. So when you go to Ayurveda physician, they look at you and they tell you about your body type, and they tailor this personal, unique lifestyle for you. And by following this, don't get overwhelmed with so much knowledge, so many different tips. Just do one at a time, and it bring a big change into your body, into your balance, and into your day. So so I will say, this little effort in your habits on the daily basis, the guidance is this ancient wisdom. We are not guiding you. The guidance comes from the wisdom, which is very ancient, more than 5,000 BC, as you have heard a lot, and still working. and you live a life that is full of health, full of happiness, and you reach your full potential in your life. So this is what Ayurveda lifestyle is about. You tune in with yourself, you get to know yourself, and slowly, you don't need a physician to tell you do this, do that. You get connected to yourself better. And there's a whole lot of research on this circadian rhythm, on the lifestyle, and I think that is the most upcoming lifestyle medicine will be practiced a lot and a lot in the coming years. So here you're getting all the wisdom through this wonderful series of lectures through our wonderful doctors and our wonderful Noel who is guiding all of us. So thank you.
Okay, Dr. Rajvinder, thank you very much. And I think you said something really important there as well, is that people, we've had habits for years, people are different ages and all that, and we've been doing things for a long time. We can't change, and we shouldn't want to change all our habits straight away. It wouldn't make sense. It would be too much on the nervous system. So we change a little thing. If you're used to going to bed at 1 o'clock every day at nighttime, then obviously sleep is so important in Ayurveda, and we know now that sleep is incredibly important. And 1 o'clock is too late at nighttime to be going to bed. You've missed a lot of the healing that can go on during the pitta time in the evening. But you can't suddenly start going to bed at 9:30 if you've been going to bed at 1 o'clock every day. So you bring it back. You bring it back a half an hour. You bring it back an hour. And the same, with your food. You can't suddenly just give up everything that you've been doing. So it's baby steps. It's little steps. But the great thing is when you do make a change, then you begin to feel better, then that encourages you to do more changes. If you try to take it all on in one go, you suddenly realize, oh no, I'm too uncomfortable with this. I can't do this. And then you just stop and you give up and you just go back to your old ways. So it's baby steps. It's little changes. And we have a whole lecture devoted to the cycles within the day, and a healthy daily morning routine with cleaning your mouth and cleaning your tongue. And we'll show you how to do the oil massage and put oil in your nose to help kill viruses that get in there and keep this respiratory area very, very clean. We go through the middle of the day and the importance of your main meal, and then what to do in the afternoon, and then what to do in the evening. So all of these things we will cover in the course as we go on. So that's what we wanted to do today, basically, was give you an introduction to our 3 doctors that are going to guide the lectures. They've outlined 3 main areas that they feel are very important. Dr. Brennan, in relation to enlivening that consciousness through a meditation technique. The one he prefers is transcendental meditation. It's my own personal technique as well, but there are other techniques as well. So we enliven that consciousness through that stillness, through experiencing that stillness, which silence is, we've known from all cultures that to experience stillness is very, very beneficial to people. And then Dr. Naheed talked about the importance of a strong digestion. And we're going to go over that, and we're going to show the things that can knock your digestion out of balance and how important it is to have that strong digestion. And then finally, Dr. Rajvinder talked about, all the lifestyle things that we're going to be talking about throughout this course. So what I want to do now, if you don't mind, is I just want to share our website with you, because there are lots of resources on this website that are going to be very important during this course. So okay, so this is our website here, ayurveda.ie, okay? And I just want to bring your attention to, when you go there, the spelling of Ayurveda, for new people, it's ayurveda.ie. So there's the spelling up there, okay? If you go to this menu option, Ayurveda, there's some great information here for new people, okay? So there is an article about Vata, an article about Pitta, and an article about Kapha. So you can read up about these 3 doshas. There's an introduction which tells you the importance of the doshas, and then there's an actual body type test that you can do yourself. So you can get an idea, or begin to get an idea. I wouldn't say it's 100% perfect, and it changes as people go on, but you can begin to get an idea of what your dosha is, So you can do that body type test, and so you get some idea of where we're going with this. And so all of those things between now and the next class, which will be on Thursday, maybe if you get a chance, you can go take a look at that. The other thing I want to bring you to is our YouTube channel, because this is where we're going to be putting up the repeats of the courses if you missed them. And we have a wealth of knowledge up on this YouTube channel. There are lots of videos on different topics, so you can scan down through this. I will be referring throughout the course to different videos that we will want you to watch. Like there are cookery course videos here. There are videos about the change of season. There's one, how to make an immunity boosting tea with Dr. Rajvinder. Another one, how to make ginger juice. There's some there about cooking. And then later on down, Dr. Brennan has lots of small videos about different topics that may be afflicting people. So this is a huge resource for knowledge. And as I say, this is where we're going to put up our Ayurveda courses. But you get to that very easily just from our website, just down here, you visit our YouTube channel. So that's what I wanted to show you there. This Ayurveda menu where you can start getting a lot of information about Vata Pitta Kapha, and then also the link to our YouTube channel. So that's it. That's what we wanted to cover today. So what we're going to do now, and what we always do in these courses, is we have a Q&A. And what we'll do in this is we will take preference to questions in relation to the topics that we've covered today. So if there's anything in this video that you want to ask about, then please feel free to go ahead and ask. As usual, we'll try to answer any question regardless of what it's about. But obviously, we'll just give preference to questions about the topics that were covered today. But our doctors are here to answer those questions. So we'll hand over and we'll start our Q&A now.
Well, can I just by saying that, when I did finally train in Maharishi Ayurveda, there was a lot of resistance to the whole concepts, and the inevitable question was, show me the evidence, And it was lovely to hear Dr. Rajvinder point out towards the end of our talk how everything that we're now saying and have been saying and has been said for the past thousands of years in Ayurveda is increasingly evidence-based. The evidence is, so powerful that anybody who denies these suggestions that we're giving to you is just closed-minded, actually, and refusing to take responsibility. And our challenge to you is that, when you hear the suggestions, that you actually take responsibility, because what will heal is you learning how to love yourself and listen to your own needs and integrate these suggestions, because you will feel better, you will be healthier, you'll prevent a lot of diseases, you may even heal what problems you have. And so we can only give you the information and encourage and motivate you as best we can. And so we hope you enjoy the course, and I'll hand you back to Noel to get your questions, which we're always looking forward to hearing.
No, that's great, Don. Thanks very much for pointing that out, because it is becoming more and more increasingly evidence-based. And, there are, one of the things that we really enjoy is getting testimonials back from people. And we have, so many of them, for people who have done these courses, who have made lifestyle changes, who maybe have had a consultation with a doctor, started to adapt some of these things. And they've seen chronic conditions that they've lived with for years and years and years, begin to reverse and begin to ease, and their lives becoming healthier and happier. And that's the proof of the pudding. It's in the tasting. So you make these changes. Nobody's going to continue with these changes unless they're seeing benefits. So you make these changes in your life, and then you start to see the improvement, and you start to feel better, and you start to feel healthier, and you start to feel happier. And when you feel all those things, you don't want to feel any other way. That's the great thing about it, because it's great to feel healthy and happy, and you simply don't want to feel any other way. And then that encourages you to do the correct things. And it's not a matter of hardship to do the correct things. It's just a matter that you actually want to do the correct things. Okay, so that's fantastic. So we'll start our Q&A now. So I see some questions coming in there, doctor. So if you want to start answering them.
Right, Noel, thank you. And well, I'll take three theoretical questions that came in from Jay, whoever Jay is. The difference between space and air. Jay, it's that you're creating your own reality. As Ayurveda understands it, your consciousness at the deepest level, it actually creates this whole incredible instrument of mind body to experience life through. But the five fundamental channels of your consciousness in this process are your five senses. And with the sense of hearing comes an element of space. So space is that within which everything else can manifest. And even within the space are the seeds for the next four elements, because within space is the possibility of movement. And when you get movement, it's associated with the sense of touch, how we used to, as children, lick our finger and feel what way the wind was blowing by the coldness on which face of the finger. So the touch and air are related. And then within that element of air is the possibility of friction, and with the sense of sight emerging from our innate potentiality, this channel of sight, we have the fire element emerging. And then again, the sense of taste, fluid, water element, and then eventually the taste of smell and earth element. So that's that. And then there was a question about Ayurveda. Mary, aims at addressing symptoms and prevention is true, but Ayurveda is also about using the same strategies of lifestyle, diet, herbs, detox, digestion, all of this to treat disease. So we treat, but ideally we prevent. But ideally, where Ayurveda would have you go is towards better health, no matter where you're at, that you could be healthier. And would you say that surgery should be avoided if all possible? Mary, no, because Ayurveda has great ancient texts of surgery. And in fact, plastic surgery, as we now know, it started when when an operation was discovered in these old Ayurvedic texts by the British garrison in India. It was an operation to replace a nose if it had been, chopped with trauma. And it was so perfect that to this day, that type of surgery is still done. But that's where plastic surgery originated from, this first successful operation, which came from an ancient Ayurvedic text. So Ayurveda would describe conditions in which surgery is the ideal treatment. It's the best way forward. But in many cases, we can prevent with Ayurveda, so we don't need to go to that level. And then Catherine asks about genetic diseases. And with a genetic disease, are we to expect Ayurveda to cure this, or can we just help and alleviate some symptoms? Well, it depends. If you have something like Down syndrome, Ayurveda is not going to reverse that. But most of the genetic conditions that people suffer are, a portion of it is genetic, but it's absolutely to do with lifestyle and diet, because we now know there's what's called epigenetics, which is how your diet, your lifestyle, your stress levels impact your back to the nucleus of the cell, back into the DNA, and triggers the DNA to switch on either good or bad genes. You could take diabetes. It tends to run in family traditions, but if someone is leading a really good lifestyle and diet, they might never get it. But if someone's, on the other hand, is not taking exercise, eating very poorly, well, very early in life, the genetic potential is manifested. So Ayurveda can help very many conditions that are genetic through that influence of lifestyle and diet. So I should hand over to Raj or Noel to answer some questions.
Well, it's interesting about the genetics, because if you are prone to something, then you really need to more look after yourself really than someone who's not prone to it. It doesn't mean it's inevitable. And epigenetics is a fascinating area, because it seems that epigenetics has a bigger impact on your life than your actual genetics. So it's what's being switched on and off through your environment and through your diet and through the way you work and all these different things that is having a huge impact on your health and your understanding of life. So yeah, Dr. Raj, I don't know if there's any questions there for you.
Yeah, there's a very nice question Vatsala asked, like, should we change the habits according to Ayurveda, according to different stages of life? Well, that is going to come up in the next lessons anyway. Yes, Vata, Pitta, Kapha are the three personality, and there are different phases of your life. When Kapha is more dominant, it is, for example, when the child is born, it is Kapha phase of life. Doesn't matter, child is more Vata or Pitta, Kapha affect the children more. That's why children has more kind of asthma and that kind of problems. So mother needs to be careful what she feeds to the child, of breastfeeding, what she eats herself. And then for the second phase of life, from teenager 12 onwards to 50 or 60, it is Pitta phase of life, when we are very active and sharp mind and able to do a lot of things. And mostly we tend to abuse ourselves in a very young age. And so if we have a good diet and good lifestyle and look after ourselves, Then the third phase of life, which is 60 onward, is Vata, where life should be easy. You go to bed early, easy to digest meal, take it easy. And because that's why in the Vata phase of life, Vata problems are more dominant, which is insomnia, arthritis, because Vata is for the movement. So if you're minding ourselves, our habits according to different phase of our life, we can prevent a lot of these problems. That's what Ayurveda teaches us.
Someone asked what between air and space. Well, air has
Answer
volume,
that.
it's got
I'll
weight.
just answer that, Noel.
Oh, did you?
Dr.
Okay.
Brandon, answer that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sort of looking through a lot of the questions and saying, well, you really are asking for an awful lot. Some of you're asking for a simple solution to some incredibly complex problems.
Yeah.
And some of you really have to start thinking in terms of, getting professional advice as opposed to a home remedy. But there are some things that are easily or can be impacted by simple measures. And the first thing I would do, Jane, for insomnia is have a very gentle set of yoga postures before bed. And for 10, 15 minutes stretching in that way, that, to my experience, has helped people to be more settled. So that may well be worth trying. And
Come to our yoga class, you will learn gentle stretches and breathing exercises and guided meditation and all, which will set your mind for sleep. Lots of people send us compliments that they sleep well after the session. So yeah, Dr. Benny's advice, maybe a little oil on your feet and just do some stretching, calm your mind before you go to bed.
yes, and no coffee after lunch. Because I'm amazed people are drinking stimulants that are still in their bloodstream 12 hours later and wondering why they can't sleep. Hair loss, it's beginning to strike me. We're doing these courses so often. I think I'm hearing myself.
Questions are very similar.
I think what we'll do eventually is just tape all the answers. Hair loss. Yeah, there's a great herbal preparation that helps a lot of people. It's healthy hair and nails. You get it from the website, put it in the search bar, healthy hair and nails, and take a tablet twice a day. And yes, you massage your head with oil, And then there are specific oils. There's a Bringaraj oil, and there's a Vata hair oil, Pitta hair oil, Kapha hair oil. So oiling your head, and if it is the thing of stress, for some ladies, then the amla berry is very good. And that's MA1, amla berry. For ladies who are very stressed, sometimes they lose their hair, and that helps.
Naya Shah says, how important is organic food for our well-being? I personally would say it's quite important. It's very important, really, because, part of Ayurveda is detoxification and not taking in toxins and getting rid of ama. But I mean, if you're eating food that's been liberally sprayed with all types of chemicals that we have no idea what they're doing to our physiology, so why ingest that? I mean, there's no need to ingest it if we can get organic food. So actually, not only organic food, but locally grown and in season organic food. So find yourself a farmer's market that's near you. I'm very lucky in Drogheda. We have McNally Family Farm, not so far away. They do a huge range of different vegetables. I think that's where Dr. Brennan gets his vegetables from as well, because they have a market up in Dublin. So yes, support a local grower, a local organic grower if you can find one. Support one of them and try to avoid taking pesticides, especially glycophosphates. Like, everybody seems to have them. They seem to be everywhere. They seem to be in everybody's bloodstream. And, God knows what they're doing to the physiology and the brain,
Media iPad. Why does my husband love spicy food, but I don't, no matter how much I try? This is the wonderful thing about Ayurveda, because, we're all different. We have different natures, different needs. And true love is actually recognizing your partner is different and giving him permission to do what he likes while you do what is right for you. So as you go through the Vata Pitta Kapha in the course, I think that you'll get your answer there, and you'll enjoy hearing about how your own nature is likely to be Pitta. So listen now to the second next talk about Pitta and why you don't like such hot spicy foods.
So Maria is saying psoriasis is Pitta and Vata combination. Any home remedies? We can't really give a home remedy for psoriasis. Psoriasis is normally a Kapha Vata condition. Sometimes there may be Pitta, Vata, but mostly it is kapha involvement. So I would say cut down on the kapha foods, which you're going to learn in the coming courses anyway. You will have an idea what is kapha and what are the characteristics of kapha and how should you balance the kapha. So try to balancing of the imbalance in you. First, try to find the imbalance in you if you can, and then according to that work within your own knowledge. And if you need help, we are here.
And you could see the wonderful workings of Rajvinder's mind there, because she's recognizing and in letting you know gently that when she's in consultation, she's not just looking at your nature, but she's also looking at the nature of the imbalance you've gathered. So the disease's nature. So psoriasis could actually be a vata or a pitta or a kapha. It inevitably is likely to involve the pitta and the kapha, but the dynamics of how it came about in your physiology and what is the things that you have to focus on, that's the significance of her expertise, as opposed to, you know, just making a presumption that all psoriasis is the same for everybody, which is what medicine does. And this is why Ayurveda is so beautiful, because it individualizes it. And same rheumatoid arthritis, for example, condition in two different people could be two different, totally different causes, totally different evolutions in their body, but ending up with the same apparent disorder. So in medicine, you will take a standard medicine, anti-inflammatory. In Ayurveda, you will try to cultivate a program that is appropriate for this person with this disorder, taking in mind how the disorder in this person developed. And so it's just much more refined and subtle. And that's why I can't actually give answers to Maya, kapha with multiple sclerosis and Crohn's disease, what to balance. Where would I start? It's just too difficult to do it on just a question.
Yeah.
I don't even see you. And the same with Mary, breast cancer, 2017, lymph glands removed. She's got fluid retention. Now she fractured an ankle. She's got fluid retention. She's got tears to rotators cuffs. Mary's very complex. I think you need a little bit more. I wouldn't know where to start is my problem. I'd love to be able to give you something simple. Sorry, Mary. Suggestion for Bhavna for weight gain during premenopause stage. Now, Bhavna, yes, it's very interesting because as Rajvinder mentioned times of the day in her talk in the video, then there are times of life, and we come to a change at the age of 50 from a pitta time of life. Pitta is fire, so it's fading. So the digestion and the metabolisms are not as fired up, so they don't burn off calories so easily now. So we're coming to this phase where pitta is fading and we're not burning off the excess calories and the weight starts to gather. And so, you know, that's why going through the course, you listen to how to take care of your digestion, how to be in tune with your body to eat the right amount at the right time for that phase of your life. And there is a herbal for menopause, which helps actually the declining hormones and nourishes the tissues in their absence coming up to the menopause. And that's a menopause balance tablet too. So that might be worth a thought. But also, again, I think a consultation would be helpful there.
People are saying, is it TM is to do from YouTube or is it to learn from a practitioner?
No, you have to learn from a practitioner. And what you do is go into TM-Ireland, if you're in Ireland, or UK, if you're in the UK, or Lebanon, if you're in the Lebanon. So tm-yourcountry.org. And that'll bring up your local TM organization and your local TM center where you can learn person to person. And it's a course that you do.
A lot of questions coming in about the YouTube channel. So the best thing to do is go to our website, ayurveda.ie, and then there's a link to the YouTube channel there. It's called the Ayurveda Center on YouTube, but there's quite a few Ayurveda centers. And someone says, what's on it? Well, these videos will be put on it. Plus, there's lots and lots of different videos, cookery courses, all types of things. Dr. Brennan has countless videos about different conditions and how Ayurveda approaches them there, you know. And
There's
also,
a video on ghee because somebody asked what is ghee. So there's a video on that as well.
And Noel, when they go on the website, where do they find YouTube? Do
Just
they
go scroll down a little bit, and there's a little box that says for the videos, click here for our YouTube channel, you know. It's best to look at the website on a laptop rather than a phone, you know. If you can look at it on a laptop or a computer, and there's hundreds of articles on that website, different health conditions that are discussed. There's lots and lots of videos. There's well, obviously all our products are there as well, but there are hundreds of different articles that are there as well that people can read about, you know.
And can Katrina maybe go on and look at the video on thyroid? Because where do you start? You know,
No, thyroid is that webinar that we run. We'll run that again, you know. So that's
Right.
not on our YouTube channel. That's available to rent, all right. I mean, that was the 2-hour webinar that we did, you know. So
Right.
that's available to rent. You can rent that, but it's not given for free on our YouTube channel, you know.
Newton is asking what is the website. So I just typed it there. Newton is www.ayurveda.ie.
And Paula, type 2 diabetes, that's something that, you know, even medicine now is beginning to see as possibly curable. Certainly, we've had very, very good results and seen brilliant changes in people who have taken to the Ayurvedic regime and digestive advices. Generally, type 2 diabetes is a kapha problem. So the second next talk about kapha would be very relevant, Paula, for you to be attentive to. And Nina Shah, any advice on gastrointestinal issues? Definitely, we have a lecture coming up towards the end of the course on gastrointestinal advice, so watch out for that. And Margaret asks about advice on stamina and fatigue. Oh, Margaret, where would we start? Like, you know, so many different complaints could end up with a lack of stamina and a lot of fatigue. So I suspect because Vata is so fundamental, it's possibly the one to initially start thinking about balancing in that situation.
Katrina Hughes says Harvest Day is amazing for organic weekly veg boxes. Katrina, I'm not sure if that's in the UK or Ireland. Green Earth Organics is another one from Galway. They do a vegetable box system as well, you know. And Harvest Day, I presume people can Google that. But there's so many growers coming up now. I mean, they really are coming up all over the place. I'm sure it's the same in the UK as it is in Ireland. I mean, there are so many family farms being set up and people growing organic food and organic vegetables and stuff like that. It shouldn't be too hard to find a local supplier. You know?
He said it's Dublin based.
Dublin based, fantastic. Harvest Day. I never heard of them actually, but yeah, that's fantastic.
Gillian Wilson, we've Vata Pitta Kapha. Yeah, there are different natures. We could be a Vata type, a Pitta type, a Kapha type, a Vata Pitta type, a Pitta Kapha type, or a Vata Kapha type, or a Vata Pitta Kapha type. So they're basically 7 natures.
7 different combinations.
Yeah. But also there are different times of the day in terms of Vata Pitta Kapha, and there are different seasons of the year and different times of life. And, you know, as we go through the course, you'll pick it up more gently. So don't get overly concerned that it's very complex. It's not. It's very simple, really. And I love Karen's contribution. She's asking about a cold shower. She likes a cold shower and rinsing her hair in cold water. Her grandmother told her that this is really good for her lymphatic system and brings a shine to her hair. She also swims in the lake up until Christmas. Now, this is very interesting. First of all, her grandmother, because it was a traditional thing. And what her grandmother said, it was good for her lymphatic system. The research now shows that a cold swim, a cold shower, a cold bath stimulates the lymph, it stimulates the immune system. So how wise the tradition was. So Ayurveda says we don't heat our head. And so, yes, the cold water on the head is really good. And she says, so it was said.
But if you are kapha, then maybe lukewarm, because per part of the body is kapha, isn't it? So
yeah,
she may have a very good immune system, and she doesn't get sinus or any headache from kapha.
Yeah, if she was getting kapha problems, she'd have to alter that. But the exercise is so good for kapha as well.
Mm.
You know, and a question about what exercises are good for kapha. Any exercise is good for kapha, and the more the merrier, and the more vigorous the better. But you take into your account your own, you know, time of life. So for an elder who's in a Vata time of life, you know, a brisk walk is good exercise. But for a teenager who's kapha, marathons, you know.
Somebody asked the question why we are slowing down as we age, why we are not kapha, why it is vata.
because we start life grounded in the earth element. We grow and we become established in this realm. And then in this realm, we start to refine and refine. So Kapha is more gross, being the earth element. Pitta is more refined. Vata, the final phase of our life, is the inner space element. It's more spiritual. It's more spiritual. So it ought to be. We're here to evolve. We're here to grow. And it ought to be that we become more and more spiritual until we're so enlightened. We don't need this blooming body, and we can just, as they said, drop it and get on to enjoying
Yeah.
the reality of the blissful being that we ultimately are. And that may be the progressive unfoldment of life as it's meant to be.
Somebody asked about the bruised and inflamed knee, what oil? So I typed in the chat, joint seed oil might be helpful because that's a good oil for any bruise and pain and inflammation. MA929.
Vatsala asked another question similar to what we were just talking about. How and what happens to change with each decade so that we adapt to the best ways of keeping healthy? Very insightful, Vatsala, but it's not so much in terms of each decade. In Ayurveda, it's in terms of these three phases of life, which we will come to in the next talks: the Vata time of life, the Kapha time of life, the Pitta time of life, the Vata time of life. We need different regimes of living, and we need to adjust as we go through these different phases, and then we keep balanced and healthy.
Okay, so someone's asking about the diet for the different doshas. All I can say is just keep following the lessons, because the next lesson is on Vata, the lesson after that is on Pitta, and the lesson after that is on Kapha. So by the end of those 3 lessons, you're really going to know a lot about Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and you're also going to be able to start recognizing them in yourself and making a judgment call on where your imbalances, your own particular imbalances, if you happen to have any lie, you know.
Colin and Susanna, nice question. They're saying, you want to ask about food when you work in a work and you have 2 breaks, 15 and 25 minutes, how to sit, have your meal and rest in your car when we can't use microwave and kettle. It would be nice to get some advice for it. So I would say invest into a nice thermos food flask, and you can have a nice warm meal in your flask, and you can, if you have to sit in the car, at least you eat more mindfully.
Yeah, there's a video on our YouTube channel where we make a food flask dinner. It's very, very simple to make. I mean, a lot that comes up all the time. People saying, I don't have time. How, you're eating a sandwich in the middle of the day when you should be eating your main meal in the middle of the day. When I was a child, we had breakfast, dinner, and tea. That was the sequence. We had breakfast, dinner, and tea. Now we have breakfast. If you're lucky, we've something that's called lunch, which could consist of absolutely anything, and then people are eating a big meal late at nighttime, and that was not the way it used to be. So we used to have our dinner in the middle of the day. And so if you're in a situation where you're working and you can't get the time to go out to a restaurant or cook some food, then make a food flask. Get yourself a food flask, and in actual fact, it takes about 15 minutes to prepare a meal in the morning. You put it in the food flask, and by the time it comes to 12 o'clock or 12:30, it's actually cooked. It actually cooks in the food flask, and you can have fresh, warm, nourishing food, with whatever you want to make it with, lots of fresh vegetables and spices every day of the week. And there's a video of showing that on our YouTube channel, as I say. So, and we do lots of cookery courses as well, so people can find out about that.
So I don't like the way somebody describes themselves. I am a constipated person. I don't believe it. You're not a constipated person. You're a beautiful person. But you may have had a difficulty with constipation, which may take you a little time to sort out. It's a long term, by the sound of it, a Vata problem. And there are immediate things that you can do in terms of, using stewed fruit, particularly prunes, stewed overnight as part of your breakfast with 2 dessert spoonfuls or 2 tablespoonfuls of flax seeds. And there's a trifle, a tablet, which is well worth trying. But sometimes if it's chronic long term, I find that as people over the months get their Vata back to balance, they start to surprise themselves. And then they get rather proud of their product first thing in the morning as they come back to balance. So I would hope that for you. And somebody else is, Mary is talking about Ayurvedic surgery. Unfortunately, the art of anesthesia was lost in Ayurveda. And so the surgery is in the old texts, and there are some procedures that may still be done. But actually, if I was going for surgery, I'd far prefer to go to modern medicine for that. And Catherine, thank you, Catherine, for coming back about the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I think one thing to think about actually is bone broth if you're not a vegan, simply because the collagen in the bone marrow is in the bone broth, and that could help. It could nourish to some extent. And the other thing is, I find people with Ehlers-Danlos, they do actually do quite well when their Vatas are very balanced. So watch out in the course for balancing your Vata.
Newton is saying she's not getting anywhere on the website except buying products.
Yeah, no, I answered that about 4 times. There's
Okay.
absolutely hundreds of articles on the website. So, I mean, just take your time. You're probably looking at it on a phone. So go onto a computer and look at it, and go over to health issues and scroll down. And there's loads and loads of different articles. There's lots of videos. There's lots of questionnaires. There's all sorts of stuff. We do sell our products on the website as well. And they are there. I don't know for what reason they're just coming up for you, but all those, just use the menus going across the top. There's only one menu for the shop, but the rest of the menus are for all different things that you can look at,
And Badra, if you listen to Noel there, you will see that there is a questionnaire on the website, which might give you some idea about your own doshas. But I think more as you go through this course, you'll get insights. Hearing more and more about Vata, Pitta and Kapha, you come to recognize yourself better and better. And Hiru Buddha, yeah, just relax. It's your first time doing the course. Things will be going into deeper. This is just the first lecture. So we will go into the 3 doshas much more and into your nature and how to keep it balanced.
People here who are 10th time will start answering the question. We don't have Anna here today, I think.
Yeah, great.
Will we show nasal application? We absolutely show that in one of the lessons, so don't worry about that. Okay, we're getting very close to the end game here. Great session. I have Tai Chi up on 8 p.m. on Tuesday. Okay, as I say, this will all go up on the YouTube anyway. So
and Gail is asking about would the Ayurveda conflict with medicines? Usually not, because foods don't conflict with medicines. Many of the herbs and spices we use don't. In some cases, we'd be quite circumspect and wouldn't prescribe. But in general, they're compatible.
So Jack Addison says, on phone, if you're looking at the website on the phone, tap Explore Full Site at the bottom of the page, and it's all there. So that's for Newton.
Jane McGormand has come back doing her breathing exercise or her yoga before bed. She doesn't drink coffee at all, and she's still finding it hard to go to sleep. Then do try the Blissful Sleep tablet on the website, and take 2 or 3 in the evening.
I was asking about the post-COVID tiredness. I would suggest Amrit Kalash paste, MA4. I think we don't have that in stock. It's coming in, so with more patience. So that will be very helpful.
In Lebanon, they ask, could they translate? Please do translate in Lebanon for all your people.
Some questions there. I mean, I think the way to translate this, I mean, there's a lot of work in translating this, So I think the thing to do is look at the video on when we record it, and then you'll have to figure out how you can translate over it. Maybe you have to look at it on Zoom again and then re-record your voice over the top of that and see how that works out, But great, if you want to translate it, then great. The more people we get this knowledge out to, the better, Okay, everybody. So that's a great start to our course. We've covered what we're going to be covering in the whole course. The next lesson on Thursday is about Vata, and Vata is the king of the doshas. And from an Ayurvedic perspective, as I said already, all diseases, all sicknesses are associated with an imbalance in the doshas of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Because look at the word disease; it means dis-ease. The system is not at ease with itself. And oddly enough, Vata has the vast amount of diseases associated with it. It's got about 80 different diseases associated with it, which is higher than Pitta and higher than Kapha. So it's a very, very important dosha, even if you're not predominantly Vata, but many people are predominantly Vata, and it tends to be the one that goes out of balance the easiest. So if you find you're suffering from insomnia, you're worrying, you have a racing mind, you have constipation, you have irritable bowel, you have arthritis, all of these things are associated with Vata imbalances, and we're going to be going very, very in depth, taking a look at Vata, air and space, moving light, you know, all of the qualities of air and space, and we're going to be taking a great look at them in depth on Thursday. So definitely come along on Thursday at 7:30. Now, I did get a few emails at the beginning of the nights, you know, after 7 o'clock saying I can't find the Zoom link. If you're registered with the correct email address, you got the Zoom link. So check your spam folder. If you use Gmail, check your promotions folder. But the email will go out Thursday morning around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. So check by 1 o'clock, find it. And if you haven't got it, then send me an email, because when the course starts, I'm kind of scrambling to keep up and get emails out to people. So it's better if you check that you have that earlier on, and then if you don't have it, or if you can't find it, then I'll send it to you. But the chances are you have it. It's gone somewhere. It's gone into your spam or your promotions or somewhere, you know. So okay, everybody, unless any of the doctors have any, I see you looking intently there, Donna. You all right?
Somebody's asking me what dosha for diabetes. It was Kapha, Mayuri. So I was trying to get that typed to you. Kapha.
So Rowena says, I can't see the full site on my phone. Joke. So we'll have to get Rowena a new phone. We'll get you one for Christmas. So, okay, so that's it. Okay, everybody, that's great. Thanks a million.
Somebody was asking, are we doing private consultations? Yes, we are.
Yeah, yeah. And it's all on that website that nobody can find, ayurveda.ie. And it's the very big heading on the website. It's always tricky on a phone. You can't really get thousands of bits of information on one little page on the screen. So go and look at it on a computer. And the first, over on the right-hand side of the homepage, is all the details for consultations. Dr. Brennan can be booked online, Dr. Naheed can be booked online, and Dr. Rajvinder, her email address and her telephone number are there for organizing consultations.
All by Zoom at the moment.
All by Zoom at the moment. There's no in-person consultations. It's all done via Zoom. When we open up again, we'll be going back to doing it in person. But I mean, there are people getting consultations from all over the world. I mean, a lot of people from the UK get consultations. They're probably never going to be doing them in person. So the Zoom consultations work very, very well as well, you know. Okay, it's gone past 9 o'clock, so we're winding down at this stage. It's
absolutely, and just let people be aware that we're not going to get to all the questions when hundreds come in, and getting your question in at the start is more likely to get.
Mostly, thank you. But you will learn a lot with the next coming all this lessons. So stay tuned, and you will be master at the end of this.
Yeah, I mean, we can't guarantee we'll answer all the questions, and some of them are not appropriate to answer really. If someone has a very serious,
like Tamara is here, it's her 10th time.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
She's already a white.
So yeah, keep coming back, build up your knowledge, and then, you know, if you do want to have a personal consultation, that's when you can get different questions answered. Okay, everybody, namaste. Thanks very much for coming on. We'll see you again. I'll send you an email in the morning with a link to this so you can review it, and we'll see everybody again on Thursday at 7:30. Okay, good night, everybody. Take care.
Good night.
God bless.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.